training. Today I am here to share my views regarding traditional education and skill education. Many people are having doubt, what is this traditional education, what is this skill education. So today I want to educate you about skill education and traditional education. Now first let us talk about what is traditional education. Traditional education is the education about which we were hearing from our generations, that is BA, BCom, BSc and so on. This was the traditional education system which was running in India. In this education system, the teacher used to come in the classroom. She used to give theoretical knowledge in classroom. She used to impart all her knowledge to the students, and she used to tell students to mug up the subject. Here what was expected was that students should mug up and write all the answers as what is required by the teacher only. Students were never encouraged to use their grey matter for critical thinking or putting their inputs about the subjects. So whatever was written in the book, students had to mug up and had to write in the examinations. But after years of survey, it has been noted that this traditional education was a total failure. Now you will ask me how. So I am here to explain you. Suppose we were learning all these theorems, proofs in mathematics, physics, chemistry, everything, Newton's law of motion, hypotenuse theorem, sine theta, cos theta. We learned everything. Most of them who didn't like mathematics and science used to mug up all these things, all these theorems by spending their nights. They used to get frustrated while recitating all these theorems, but they had to do it because they had to pass the examinations and get good marks. And after doing all these things, they might have got good marks, but then they discovered that even they had learned all these theorems, proofs, but these theorems, these proofs, their good marks were unable to yield good employment to them, because whenever they went for interviews, no one asked them what is Newton's second law of motion, no one asked them what is hypotenuse theorem, what is the full form, what is the equation for a plus b the whole square, because all these things were not practically needed in life for everyone. Imagine 2 years of pre-primary school and then 12 years of education, that is 12 plus 2, 14 years of education couldn't yield even a bread and butter to an individual. So what's the use of that education? So finally government thought that skill education is much more better than the traditional education. So now the emphasis is more on the skill education. Now let me explain you what is skill education. Skill education is a system wherein there is a lot of practical involved in it rather than theory. Here the ratio is 25:75, that is 25% of theoretical knowledge and 75% of practical knowledge. Now for this I can give you a small example. Suppose if I tell you something, then you will be able to grasp 25% of it. If I demonstrate the thing to you or demonstrate that practical to you, you may be able to grasp 50 or 60% of it. But imagine what will happen if I tell you to do that practical. I'll tell you, come here and perform this practical. Then yes, surely you will grasp 100% of it. And that's the skill education, because in skill education what is taught is how to do it practically. Your practical involvement is more in skill education rather than traditional education. In skill education only 25% of theory is taught. That theory consists of basic nomenclatures, basic things which you should know about that subject. And after all, practical is most important. You can imagine in nursing field, I can explain you that how to give injection. You have to take a syringe, fill it with injection, then push it. But do you think this will help you to inject the injection in a patient? No, it will never help. You will learn to inject a patient only by performing it, and that is the skill education what we are giving today. So in skill education, I'm telling you repeatedly, the practical aspect is more important. Here, suppose if it is a 1-year course, then only 3 months of theoretical training is done and 9 months of practical training is given to the student. So suppose if you get a degree certificate or a plain certificate for traditional courses, and when you hunt for a job, and if an employee asks you, do you have any experience, you will just tell, no sir, and your opportunity to fetch that job is gone. But in skill education system, if you move out to search a job, and if an employer asks the same question to you, do you have any experience, you can proudly say, yes sir, I have 9 months of experience, if you have done the 1-year course. So imagine how superior you are compared to the traditional education which the kids along with you are having. So according to me, skill education is much better than the traditional education. Lastly but not the least, what I like to tell you is, if you don't skill India, you will kill India. Thank you.